Hello, hello! Canadian Sasquatch here with a happy Homebrew Wednesday. Let's start this off right with a homebrew. This is the white stout kit that I got from Austin Homebrew Supply. And so let's crack it open and give it a taste. So they say it's a white stout. And there was a lot of flaked barley and oats and to give it the mouthfeel, and there's not very much head on this at all. Of course, I'm not really supposed to be drinking it for about another week or so, I think, but it happens. So my light's not on. Where's my light? There we go. There's my light. So yeah, so it's a little cloudy. It's kind of a golden amber. So it's probably cloudy and not very carbonated because I just stuck it in the fridge last night and it really should have been in there for much more. But anyways, it's I'm getting quite a bit of coffee. There was a lot of coffee that went into it. It was 8 ounces of whole coffee beans in the last 5 minutes of the boil, and I kept them in all the way through chilling. So lots of coffee, which it's a little sad for me because I don't like coffee that much, but oh well. Give it a whirl here. So cheers. There's a very, very little carbonation in there. It tickles a little bit, but yeah, not much in there. Definitely needs a little bit more time in the bottle there. But the taste is not bad. It's the coffee flavor is mild. It's got a nice full flavor like a stout does. Probably thanks to the flaked wheat and the flaked barley that's in it. So yeah, and it's about 6.5% ABV. That's a nice Squatch sessionable drink. So yeah. So not too much going on. Did a video yesterday. You guys may have seen it already on my quick tip on putting the labels on the bottles, and it seems to have worked out quite nicely. It was my first time doing it, and they stuck nice, and it was quick and easy. What else? Not too much else happened homebrew-wise. Kind of took it easy this week. This coming weekend, I'll be bottling my oatmeal stout and brewing a ginger beer, which will basically be a blonde ale with a lot of ginger. There is a little bit of carbonation in this beer. So yeah, so that's what's coming up there. And so a shout out to Grant Baker. He wanted to see my meads. So I wrote down a bunch of notes, and I will take you through all the various meads that I currently have, all of which, not quite all of which, there's a couple that aren't quite ready to bottle, but yeah, so I will pick you up and walk you on over. So here's my all my various meads and stuff, and we'll go in order of being able to be bottled. So in the back here, this isn't going to work, so I will set you back down and probably do a bunch of editing. Alright, so that's done. So here we have the very first mead that I ever made. It was a kit from my local home supply. And there it is. It's crystal clear. The only problem was when I tasted it last, it tasted rather horrible. So with this one, it was a kit. It used 3 pounds of wildflower honey, Lavland's D47 yeast. The original gravity, when I started it, I don't have when I started it, it was back in October of 2012. So anyways, the gravity was 1.127. The last time I took a reading was January 28th, 2013, with a gravity gravity of 1.040. That's leaving it at about 11.5%. So yeah, that's that one, and I'm probably going to bottle it here fairly soon. Whether it's good or not, I figure I can get it in the bottles and let it age in the bottles now if it's not ready to be drank, as it's I'm tired of looking at it in the carboy. So yeah, so that's the first one. The second one I did was a quick mead that was done in 4 weeks, and I don't have any of those left, as drank it almost as quickly. So the next one I have here, it's going to be a sparkling grapefruit. So here's this one. Again, this one is super clear. You can see right through that. This one I did put some sparkloid in to clear it, because after a year it had not cleared at all. It was still hazy as hell. So this one was a coworker of mine gave me 6 grapefruits from their tree. So I juiced and zested those, and then added 3 pounds of Wahila honey. And then I used the Lavland 1118, which I have since learned not to use in mead, as it will blow all the flavors and aromatics out the airlock because it's so aggressive. So yeah, that was that one. Its original gravity was, my notes are confusing, 1.073 it looks like. This one I did differently. I started off with the juice from the grapefruits and I fermented that, and then I added the honey. So yeah, so I started this one back in January 11th, it looks like. And so yeah, so that's the grapefruit sparkling melomel. Then I ended up with too much of that, so I made a hydromel, which again you can see right through that. Which the difference between a melomel and a hydromel is a hydromel is more watery, so it's less ABV. Supposedly done faster. And basically all I did was I took the leftovers of the grapefruit melomel and topped up the jug here with water. And again, I used the sparkloid to get it this clear, because it too was very, very hazy. Let me turn this light off because I probably keep flashing you guys that, and all this talking is making me thirsty. So then my next one was my blood orange, which is way in the corner there, so we gotta shuffle things around. Ignoring that one for now. So this one's a 3-gallon batch, which is also very clear. You can kind of see through it. And I will set it back down there. So yeah, so that's a blood orange one. Which, where's my notes? So with this one, I started off with 20 blood oranges, and then 10 pounds of Wahila honey. And what I did with this one was I took the juice and the honey and the water and mixed it all together and fermented it down until it couldn't ferment anymore. And then I added another 1.625 pounds of honey to it again. And then I fermented that down till it couldn't ferment anymore. Then I added another same amount of honey. And so basically what I was doing was I was step feeding it the honey, so it would eat through the honey, jack it back up, eat through the honey, jack it back up, always trying to keep it at the level of sweetness that I wanted. And I did that until the yeast could no longer eat the honey, so it naturally stayed at the sweetness that I want. So this one should not require any back sweetening to get it to where I want. So I don't have to add any sulfites and sorbates to kill off the yeast because they've already killed themselves off due to the alcohol. So with this one, I use the Lelvin 1122 yeast, and so I got that 3-gallon batch, and after getting it into secondary, I put it onto the zest of the oranges, and then there was too much for just the one 3-gallon batch, so I got this one here, which again you can see right through that, no problem. So this is blood orange. That did not have any zest in it, so it should theoretically have a slightly different flavor. So yeah, so that's that. Then batch number 6 that I did was a Josean Orange, and I don't have any of that particular vintage here, but I have made it several times, and there's several batches that I will show as I move forward. So after that, the blood orange and Joe's, I got a peach mead. So that was this other 3-gallon jug right here. That again you can see right through, no problem. So that one was, what did we do with that one? That one was 15 pounds of clover honey, and I used Lelvin 1116 specifically because I started that one back in June, and Houston in the summer it's hot, and this particular yeast strand does not mind if the temperatures reach over 80, and our house is quite frequently in the mid 80s during the day, so I needed something that would be okay with the heat, and so this particular yeast is good for that. So yeah, so June 30th I started it, and it was started off at 1.114 for a gravity, and I had some pH problems with it, so it wasn't fermenting, and so it took until August 11th when it hit 1.002. So at that point I took 2 gallons of it and put it into some 1-gallon jugs, which are actually really cloudy, which I'm surprised at. So I'll need to have a look at those and see what's going on with those two. Those 2 gallons are both really cloudy. And so, yeah, at that point, I then racked it onto 9.5 pounds of fresh peaches that I had frozen for 2 months, because got the peaches in June when they were in season here, and wasn't expecting it to take 2 months for the peach or the mead to ferment out like that. So that was August 11th when that happened. And due to vacations and injuries, I sprained my back at one point. So it wasn't until, October 20th when I racked it off the peaches, sort of. It was so well fermented that the peaches were completely liquid and they just went straight through the racking cane like they were liquid, because basically they were. So I let that sit for a couple of weeks, I think. I don't have any notes on that particular thing. And so I racked it off those peaches. Yeah, that would have been couple weeks later. So I racked it off the peaches and ended up with more than 3 gallons. So what I had to do was quickly find another vessel. And I happened to have this honey jug that still actually had honey in it. And well, this one's also really clear. So this half gallon of peach mead will, I don't know what it'll be like, because there was probably a good ½ pound of honey in there at least when I racked onto it, and it ate through it. And yeah, so that'll be interesting when I get to that one. So that was the peach one. And then my notes is missing batch number 10, which might have been my apple sizer. So if that's the case, then that's these guys here. So a sizer is just like a cider, but you use a lot of honey instead of sugar. And my wife and I like sweet cider, so it's sweetened and not carbonated, since you can't really do that unless you have a kegging system, and at this time I do not. So from there we go to batch number 11, which is this one, which is a cherry vanilla one, which is very clear as well. It was done in the style of Joe's Ancient Orange, which will be the next one I talk about. So that one was just a bunch of, I think it was about 1.5 pounds of cherries and a vanilla bean or two, just 3.5 pounds of honey in a 1 gallon jug, and a teaspoon of bread yeast, and away it went. And it is quite tasty. And I believe it is around 12%. Usually when you're using bread yeast like that, bread yeast with 3.5 pounds of honey for a gallon, that gets you about 12.5% alcohol. So it's a quick and easy one. So then after that, we have the Joe's Ancient Orange, which is this one with the oranges and raisins, and there's a clove, and there's some cinnamon in there. And so this recipe is very, very delicious. It's a hit wherever I take it. This is my first time making the 5 gallon jug there. Usually it's a 1 gallon batch, so we'll see how this goes. So yeah, it's quite simple. It's 3.5 pounds of honey, 1 orange sliced up 8 times, 25 raisins, 1 or 2 sticks of cinnamon, 1 or 2 hunks of clove. Actually, I only usually use 1 clove because clove's so powerful. And you add water to a gallon, shake the bejesus out of it, and add a teaspoon of yeast. So that was just a 5 gallon batch of that. And then after that, I have one more here, which is my buckwheat sack mead, which is still going. Not clear at all. It's just a sack mead is one that's very high in alcohol and very sweet. So this one I used Lavelin's 1116 again because it's good for 18%, and I've got 4 pounds of honey to that 1 gallon jug, and I've had a couple MEAs, mead explosion accidents, to relieve me of that top bit there that is missing, because it was filled up to here, and of course now it's down to here, so I'm missing some of it. But if everything goes well, it should hit 18% and still be quite sweet and tasting like buckwheat honey, because it's one of my favorite honeys, and I figured this would be a good one to experiment with aging, because the stronger the flavor of the honey, the better it is for aging. So, and also with the aging, the higher the alcohol and the higher the sugar content allows it to age longer. So I figure a bottle of this should probably last a couple hundred years. So yeah, so that's my meads, Grant Baker. So let's try and get you. There we go. So yeah, that's all of them. And so yeah, so we will continue on. Once I get some of these bottled, I'm hoping to do the grapefruit ones. Man, I don't know when I'm going to get to it actually, because this weekend I have to bottle my oatmeal stout, because I need that space in my fermentation chamber for the ginger beer that I'm doing this weekend. So I don't know. One of these days I'll get around to it. That's the nice thing about mead, is it will wait. So I'd like to thank everybody who comments on my videos, who subscribes, likes them, comment, like, subscribe, hit all those buttons down there, and have a good week, and happy Homebrew Wednesday. Cheers. And be sure to have a pint of awesome, because I will. Or did. Cheers.